In the eastern regions of France, as well as, for example, Germany and Switzerland, one of the ways we celebrate St. Nicholas Day on the 6th of December is with little brioches, sometimes with chocolate chips, in the shape of little men that are called mannala in Alsace. They go by different names in different regions, and even in Alsace people fight over the pronunciation. So to avoid getting attacked by half of my friends, I'll just stick to little brioche boys and get right into the recipe. And the first thing we're going to do is something completely non-traditional. We're going to make a Japanese milk bread dough that starts off with something called a water roux, where you combine 20 grams or 2.5 tablespoons of flour with 30 grams or 2 tablespoons of water and 60 grams or 1/4 of a cup of milk in a saucepan, and heat while whisking until the flour starts to gelatinize and thicken. This traps some moisture in our flour and results in a lighter, fluffier bread that doesn't dry out as quickly. When your mixture is thickened, after about 30 seconds, set it to one side to cool. Next up, crumble 20 grams of fresh yeast into 120 grams or half a cup of milk. If you're using dried yeast, just use half the amount. Let that sit for a couple of minutes before mixing and set aside. In a bowl, mix 350 grams or 3 cups of flour, 60 grams or 1/4 cup of sugar, and a pinch of salt. Give that a quick whisk, then pour in your cooled water roux and yeasty milk. Crack in 1 egg and begin kneading until your dough starts to come together. If you want chocolate chips in your brioche boys, add them in now, roughly 20 to 30 grams of them. If you're lucky or lazy enough to own a stand mixer, I'd suggest using it now. You can definitely do this by hand, it will just take a bit longer. Let it go for a good 5 minutes in the mixer, or 10 by hand. It is a sticky dough, but if it doesn't start to pull away from the sides of the bowl and form a ball after this time, you can sprinkle in a bit of extra flour, a small amount at a time, until it does. Then, while still kneading, toss in 45 grams or 3 tablespoons of cubed softened butter, one piece at a time, and keep going until everything is homogeneous. Roughly shape your dough into a ball, then cover your bowl and let it rise in a warm place, such as your oven with the light on, for about 2 hours. When your dough has puffed up and is nice and springy to the touch, punch it back, then turn it out onto a floured work surface where you're going to roll it out to about 3 centimeters thickness. Cut your dough into 8 pieces and let's shape our brioche boys. Grab a rectangle of dough, stretch it out a bit to have an even shape, then take a knife and cut a slit down the middle of the bottom half for the legs, 2 diagonal slits halfway up either side for the arms, and 2 horizontal slits closer to the top for the head. Then just reshape each appendage until you end up with something that looks vaguely like a person. Get help from your girlfriend, family members, or roommates if you want, and spend a few minutes together shaping all of your little doughboys, setting them on a floured silicone mat or grease-proof paper placed on a baking tray when you're done, or 2 if you can't fit them on one. Cover them and let them rise again for about 30 minutes, unless you end up calling your parents, in which case forget about them for 2 hours and end up with some chunky boys ready to be baked. Preheat your oven to 180 degrees Celsius or 350 Fahrenheit and brush your chunky boys with an egg mixed with a little bit of milk before baking them until they look nice and golden brown. Start checking after about 20 minutes. Lift them out of the oven and immediately brush them with 50 grams or 3.5 tablespoons of melted butter to help them keep their shine once cool. Optionally, you can add 20 grams or a tablespoon of icing sugar to your butter to make a quick glaze. These chunky brioche boys are best eaten alongside a hot chocolate, head first, or by savagely tearing them limb from limb, and will last 2 to 3 days before starting to dry out if you don't eat them all the first day. But how about switching things up and making a savoury version? Pour 165 grams or 2/3 of a cup of water into a bowl and crumble in 5 grams of fresh yeast with half a teaspoon of honey. Give that a stir before mixing in 260 grams or 2 1/4 cups of flour and a couple of pinches of salt. Start kneading your dough, taking out all your pent-up aggression for about 5 or 10 minutes. We're looking to make these into a bagel style bread, so the longer and harder you knead, the chewier your bread will be at the end. When your dough is nice and smooth, cover it and let it rise for a couple of hours or in the fridge overnight for the best results. Roll out and shape your dough just like before, this time only cutting into 4 pieces. Let them rise again for 30 minutes just like last time. Next up, we're going to boil our dough before baking. This may sound strange to you if you've never made bagels or pretzels before, but it's an important step. Bring a large pot of water to a boil with a teaspoon of honey, 2 teaspoons of salt, and 2 teaspoons of sodium bicarbonate or baking soda, and prepare a clean towel or kitchen paper next to it. Once your water is boiling, place however many of your doughboys as you can fit and boil them for about 30 seconds on either side, trying to flip them in one swift motion halfway through. When your minute is up, drain them on your towel while you boil the rest. Panic as you realize you've decapitated one of them and desperately try to fix him. Because of the shape of our dough, this step will end up making your bread slightly wrinkly. Just be delicate with them and it shouldn't be too bad. Bake your wrinkly boys at 190 degrees Celsius or 375 degrees Fahrenheit for about 18 to 20 minutes. Then take them out the oven and let them cool down completely before carefully slicing. Again, the shape does make it kind of awkward, but it's worth it. You can then fill your savoury mannele with whatever you'd like. Some cream cheese and smoked salmon, or pâté are my favourites. And there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this video and you give homemade mannele a go this year. If you'd never heard of them before, maybe they can start being a part of your December traditions. If you do, let me know, and if you want to help me out, leave a like and subscribe to my channel. Christmas is one of my favourite times of year, so expect more holiday recipes soon, and I'll see you next time.